Lev Vygotsky was a Russian developmental psychologist whose major contributions to the field and education occurred between the early 1920s and mid to late 1930s. While Vygotsky was only able to provide roughly a decade of work, his contributions are ever present in today's classrooms. As a developmental psychologist, Vygotsky focused a great deal on not only the development of children, but the learning processes involved with their development. According to Vygotsky, learning happens because we interact with the environment. Further, he believed that we do not learn because we have developed, rather, we develop because we have learned. In short, learning precedes development. Learning new things enhances our developmental level. However, in order to learn, we must be presented with tasks that are just out of reach of our present abilities. Tasks that are too simple or already within our present abilities do not promote learning. On the other hand, tasks that are too complex become frustrating and no learning occurs. Vygotsky believed that those tasks which are just beyond our present ability exist in what he called the zone of proximal development.
In a nutshell, the zone of proximal development can be explained as follows. Say this represents what you know, things you've mastered. Any task we ask of you that stays within the boundaries of this might be perceived as predictable, non-engaging, tedious even. This is the limit of what you can learn on your own. Learning activities that play out in this neighborhood will seem challenging. They might require collaboration or help, but they remain accessible. This is the zone of proximal development. Go way past this limit and the challenge is too great, and the learner gets discouraged, opts out, or drops out.
Here's an example. Little Johnny cannot swim. If he tried to teach himself to swim, he would most likely drown. However, if Johnny enlists the help of a swimming instructor, he will soon be able to learn to swim. In this scenario, swimming would be considered to be within Johnny's zone of proximal development. Why? Because it is a task he cannot accomplish on his own, but he can accomplish with the encouragement and guidance from someone else.
The zone of proximal development is that place between where a child can do a task independently and the task is so hard it frustrates the child. That place right in the middle between independent and frustrated levels is the level where children can perform a task with the help, scaffolding, of a teacher. They can do the task if help is given to them. The help is called scaffolding. Put more simply, we want to find out where a child is at their independent level, get just a little bit out in front of them, give them some supports so that they can learn and do the task with teacher help and support. If it is too hard, we're going to frustrate them. Too easy will bore them, so we look to find that nice zone of proximal development. Yet another visual aid for you, scaffolding. Cannot solve a problem? Can solve a problem independently. This nice place in the middle. So children learn by getting just a little out in front of them, providing the scaffolding necessary, and I'll give you some examples of this in video number 3. And eventually they internalize the scaffolding and they can solve the problem or do the task independently.
Vygotsky said that the zone of proximal development defines those functions that have not yet matured. As shown in this film, progress through the zone of proximal development may be portrayed in a model of 4 stages that can be applied to any new skill or learning. The model is illustrated here. In the first stage, the learner requires assistance from an outside source. The source may be a teacher, a friend, or even a computer. As the learning is mastered with assistance, the learner moves into stage 2. At this point, the learner is able to self-coach and independence grows. In stage 3, the new skill is internalized and becomes automatic for the learner. The final stage occurs when the new learning is not frequently called upon and automation is lost. During this stage, the learner loses ground and must return to an earlier phase to regain skill. This cyclical pattern shifts and continues throughout our lives as we acquire new skills. Vygotsky found that the social interaction of a community is very important in this process. It's interesting to note that in an educational context, the actual zone of proximal development is sometimes more narrowly viewed as stages 1 and 2 of the entire process.
The take-home message? Every student can learn. They just need the help of a teacher.